Good morning. On behalf of Colonel William Wallace, Commander, 65th Air Base Group, welcome to today's ceremony. This morning, Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin R. Nost will pass command of the 765th Air Base Squadron to Lieutenant Colonel Daniel J. Weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party, the playing of the Portuguese and American national anthems, followed by the invocation. Chaplain Thomas West will now give the invocation.
If you'd like, please pray with me. Almighty God, this day we thank you for the presence of strong and competent leadership. We thank you for those who are willing to take the heavy burden for us all upon their shoulders. But we also recognize that leadership comes in seasons. It's for this reason today that we thank you for the faithful service of Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Nost. We thank you for his guidance and expertise as the 765th Squadron Commander, and we ask for continued success as he moves to his next assignment. We pray for peace for Kristen and the kids, and we ask that this move will be smooth and that this new chapter in their lives will be full of joy and happiness. May you continue to bless Lieutenant Colonel Nost and his family for their sacrifice. We also ask that you give grace to Lieutenant Colonel Weeks as he assumes command of the 765th. We're thankful for his years of dedication to the United States Air Force, and we look forward to a continued tradition of excellence under his leadership. May his time here be marked by wisdom, vision, and a care for his people. We ask also that his family be surrounded by love and support during this time away from home. Finally, as we remember past accomplishments and look forward to future achievements, we ask that you continue to bless all of us here at Lajes Air Base and the partnership of our two nations. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain West. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are honored to have some special guests with us today. Kristen, wife of Lieutenant Colonel Nost, their daughter Isabel, and son Everett. Also in attendance, the 86th Air Wing Logistics Readiness Group Commander, Colonel Wesley Eagle. We also welcome all senior officers, commanders, directors, chiefs, first sergeants, family, friends, and the men and women of the 765th Air Base Squadron. Thank you for attending. The tradition of the change of command dates back to the time of the Roman legions, where the passing of the commander's baton occurred in front of the troops to signify the leader who would take them into battle. In the 18th century, the Continental Army of the United States resumed the tradition, conducting the first change of command ceremony. Historically, the flag or colors of the unit served as the point around which the members of the organization rallied as they moved forward into battle. The colors have traditionally been at the side of the commander and were carried forward even when the commander had fallen in combat. All others may perish, but the colors live on. Just like the colors of the past, the modern-day guidon represents the history, traditions, and accomplishments of the 765th Air Base Squadron. The exchange of the squadron guidon is a symbolic gesture which provides airmen with a tangible view of the transfer of command responsibility not only for the accomplishment of the 765th Air Base Squadron mission, but also the welfare of its people. It is my pleasure to introduce our presiding officer for today's ceremony, Colonel William Wallace.
Make sure I don't break this first thing. It's loud and clear. Thank you, Sergeant Grasso. It's a pleasure to share the stage with you again. Colonel Eagle, thank you for coming out and representing the wing. It was great to catch up with you and do some additional business on your trip. We appreciate you doing the crazy commercial schedule to be with us. Good morning and bon dia to our fellow leadership teams, the men and women of the 765th ABS. I think we almost have everybody in the room. That's badass. All right, to the Nost family, it was great to finally get to meet everybody yesterday. To Kristen, Isabel, and Everett, thank you for sharing your husband and your dad with us. We're glad you got to come visit the Azores a few times. I just hope that Ben gets that dissertation done so you can get sleep for once before you go back to teaching, of course. Seriously, we know that command is a family commitment, and a remote command with a high-paced unit has its unique challenges for everyone, so congratulations on navigating that. Welcome to the Weeks family out there, Ariel, Lucas, Declan, and Buddy. Hopefully we get to meet. We're definitely excited to work with Danny, and we look forward to bringing you into the 65th Air Base Group family. When you look at the 765th Air Base Squadron and at how it's changed over the last year and the nonstop pace of operations, it's been a complete blur. We moved comptroller flight into the group. You have the rising tides of contracting flight, the ebb and flow of force support flight, and the high volume of civil engineering flight operations. You got a 24/7 crash fire rescue ops to keep our airfield safe and at peak operations. And we're training the rest of the Portuguese Air Force on how the best, that's us, do our business. We put a lot of pressure on the 765th ABS, saying that commanding an air base squadron with the merge of structure, personnel, mission, cultures is challenging is probably the understatement of the century, and this last year was definitely that. When your focus is to maintain and support the base and the unit, and not just the 65th ABG part, the entire base and our off-base community, the work never ends. You manage the huge projects, took on massive change, an occupational health contract, a business information meeting, a change from an area development plan to a benchmark district plan, motivating change, or at least continuing to try, in the Tech Commission, a move to T100, renovating the Torque, planning and designing and executing construction, and moving almost your entire squadron facilities all across the base. Sorry, dramatic pause for page 2. All right. Solving power problems, reprioritizing the overall group's missions for success, and avoiding fighting just for your stovepipe. We planned OAR, executed emergency water supplies to our partners, realigning business hours for efficiency in our support agencies. You were always forward-thinking, analyzing, and building advocacy for contingency quarters. You are a smart advocate for funding, understanding the systems and programs, and how to realign Team Lajes for the long haul, not just for a quick win or a one-year drill. You always had to get in and help, thank you, on civilian personnel discussions, labor environmental prep, and CRT talks. Leading ways forward on our COVID policies, making our products and our website more user-friendly, and making sure our team was prepared for engagements with senior leaders and our Portuguese government engagements. Every time we turned around, it seemed that our leadership team needed somebody to drive something. It usually ended up being Colonel Nost. Not at the front and not by our direction, but it just ended up being him that stepped up and did it. That's a ton of time invested, especially for a squadron commander, so thank you. After a whirlwind year, we can definitely say Ben Nost is a very successful leader. He always smiles, he's calm and cool, and the airmen respond to him. Leading and motivating, putting people in the right spots to shine and succeed. Winning awards, getting your folks promoted. Those are the exciting things for a commander. Successfully leading change and listening to your team and making the right decisions as a command team. And change is not easy. It takes trust in your team that they're making good recommendations, and your team has to trust that you're making the right changes and that you haven't lost your mind. Working in partnership with his fellow command teams and constantly supporting our Portuguese partners on and off base. And all the changes, there's a lot of changes still to come. You are constantly sharpening this team, and now you're handing it over to Colonel Weeks. So, Ben, amazing work. GPs, Colonel Sereno, Colonel Littleton, Master Sergeant Tom, and I are all proud of you. I know that it's hard to hand that guide on over because I've been there, and you don't want to let it go. You're like, nope, I'm just gonna stay here. But you've been an outstanding commander and a leader. We are all learning on the job too. So thanks for helping us grow as well. Lieutenant Colonel Danny Weeks. He's coming out of the same program that produced Colonel Nost. So we get another PhD, super big brain guy, which is awesome. A hard-charging civil engineer, leader, and warrior. In his own way, with his own street cred, his own unique credentials. He was motivated to join the Air Force by one of his teachers, as her daughter was a cadet at the Air Force Academy. He himself went to the Air Force Academy, and then he got to go back later and teach cadets. He's got 4 deployments in support of operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. Cutting his teeth on things like rebuilding the runway and assault landing zone at Travis Air Force Base in California. Leading as an operations flight commander a huge CE squadron at Mildenhall in the UK, then rising to be the operations officer of that large squadron. He got to deploy as a commander of an air base squadron in Turkey, leading 92 airmen across 20 different specialties, so that Operation Inherent Resolve, which was at its height, could maintain the high pace of operations. After that experience, Danny said he really wanted to get an assignment to an air base squadron. Well, he got one. So he's a Group Field Grade Officer of the Year and a Wing Field Grade Officer of the Year. So that's the caliber of officer that's coming in. His dissertation and journal articles are leveraging building performance information and augmented reality to enhance maintenance in dormitory facilities and evaluating the common problems in maintenance repairs in dorms, while also identifying ways to reduce costs. Sounds like the right person to take over as we advocate for multiple contingency quarters. He's definitely the right leader to come in and continue to build on this foundation. Lieutenant Colonel Weeks, you can see most of them in front of you. You inherit a fantastic squadron. Let's see what you can do, and welcome to the team.
Thank you, Colonel Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the medal presentation.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of Meritorious Service Medal, 2nd Oak Leaf Cluster, has been awarded to Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Nost for meritorious service from 23 May 2021 to 15 June 2022. Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Nost distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 765th Air Base Squadron, 65th Air Base Group, 86th Airlift Wing, Lajes Field, Azores, Portugal. During this period, Lieutenant Colonel Nost led 291 personnel across 23 specialties in providing design, acquisition, construction, and maintenance for a $1.9 billion infrastructure system, and delivered world-class community support for 1.5 thousand personnel. His team executed a 10-year high, $14 million budget across 77 projects, supporting 4 combatant commands in the largest airfield in Europe. Additionally, Colonel Nost guided the completion of a complex renovation to the base's $40 million community center. He kept the $4.5 million project on track, which increased capacity by 88% and helped generate $2 million in annual revenue. What's more, he led the command's largest fuel response exercise and garnered high praise from inspectors while ensuring certification of the Air Force's second largest fuel storage operation. Finally, Colonel Nost's strategic vision and diplomatic approach led to a comprehensive revision of the base master plan. He skillfully garnered host nation, Department of State, and Department of Defense senior leader support for right-sizing the installation while ensuring future mission success of the Mid-Atlantic's premier strategic power projection platform. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Nost reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the Commander, 765th Air Base Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Nost.
Good morning. Sir, I've got more pages than you, but it's bigger font. I'm not pilot qualified, so don't worry. Jeff, thanks for doing this. I would say thanks for volunteering, but I know for a fact you didn't volunteer. So thanks for digging up your service chest anyway and loaning us your Boston accent for a couple hours. Lieutenant Lamont, thanks for putting this together. I know you got about 1,000 other things to do. I know because I gave them to you. Thanks to all the other volunteers too. Jarrett, Wang, I know there was probably a bunch of people I didn't even know we're putting this on, so appreciate it. And thanks to the Torque staff for putting on yet another first-class event and the reception as well. Thank you, Colonel Walls, for the kind words. I assure you for that as much as you deflect the credit, like any good leader should, your fingerprints are all over the accomplishments of the 765th this year. You empowered us to think outside the box and to turn our ideas into reality. You sung our praises when we succeeded and quietly covered our tracks when we didn't. Thank you. Chief Pease, the only thing you love more than the airmen of the 65th Air Base Group is this island. That kind of leadership is infectious. Enjoy your second year with the family. For that, I'm truly jealous. To the rest of the group leadership team, both present and departed, if you watch this on YouTube at some point, thanks for everything you do behind the scenes that sets all the units at Lajes Field up for success. Colonel Eagle, having gone back and forth to Ramstein several times, I can attest that the logistics involved in a commercial flight between here and Germany for a one-day stay are nothing short of terrible. So I'd like to personally thank you for taking the time to come down and to represent General Olson. Since you're here on his behalf, I'm sure when you get back he's going to ask you how the trip went. So if that happens, I have 3 things to pass on if you get the chance. 1, thanks for taking a chance on one of those academic guys, with kind of a weird career path. This has been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm truly grateful. Hopefully I've lived up to his expectations. Number 2, on behalf of the men and women of the 765th, thanks for all the constant time, attention, and support from the Ramstein leadership. His willingness to invest his time and fight for a GSU in the middle of nowhere has made a lasting impact on this place. And most importantly, 3, go Bucks. I can say that because by the time you tell him I'm already gone, he can't fire me. To my family, you put your lives on hold for the past year to make this a reality for me. Kristen, you quit your job to homeschool the kids. You navigated 2 baseball seasons, 2 basketball seasons, horseback riding, and piano all by yourself. Kids, you gave up your school, time with your friends, and you disrupted your normal routine so you'd be able to come out and have flexibility to visit and so we could spend time together. I'm grateful that you're able to be a part of this experience and that we have those memories together. I love you all, and I can't thank you enough. Danny, been a while since we hatched up this succession scheme via Teams about a year and a half ago, but I couldn't be happier that you're the one I'm going to pass the guide on to here in a minute. You are uniquely qualified for this job, as Colonel Wallace said, and I'm truly confident that you're the right person in the right place at the right time. I'll miss this team, I'll miss the base, I'll miss the island terribly, but knowing that I'm leaving it in good hands makes it much easier to walk away. To my Forcados family, I've said often that the Air Force has given more to me and my family than I can ever give back. That's never been truer than this year. A year ago at my first commander's call, I made a deal with you. I told you that I was going to be responsible for climate, culture, resources, and direction. You were going to be responsible for getting the mission done. I don't know if I lived up to my end of the bargain or not. That's not for me to say. What I can say is that you lived up to yours, and then some. If I had to sum up the past 13 months in one word, it'd be humbling. I've been humbled by the pride you take in your work, by the resilience of our civilian airmen, and by the love you've shown to me and my family. Not every day was a win. Sometimes y'all drove me crazy. Sometimes I drove you crazy. But even on those days, I wouldn't have traded this job for the world. I don't know what all is in store for me the rest of my career, but I'm going to be hard-pressed to do anything more rewarding than what you've all given me the opportunity to do here. I've never had the opportunity to work with a more genuine, welcoming, dedicated, and talented group of people. When I say this has been the best assignment of my career, I mean that. Calling myself your commander was an honor, and I'm proud to have served beside you. Trying to single out a single thank you or a number of folks that I've worked with is going to be impossible. And you've heard me talk way too much the past 2 weeks anyway. Hopefully by now you know how I feel about you. But I'm excited about the future of both this squadron and this installation. The reasons I'm excited about the future are all sitting in this room. You're the horsepower that makes this place run. As long as you're here, whoever's on this stage is going to be successful. I look forward to seeing what you and Lieutenant Colonel Weeks can do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Nost. Please stand for the change of command. Attention to orders. 765th Air Base Squadron, United States Air Forces in Europe, Lajes Field, Portugal. Under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-509 and in accordance with Special Order Number 22-25, dated 15 June 2022, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Weeks is hereby appointed Commander of the 765th Air Base Squadron, effective 15 June 2022.
Sir, I assume command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I am pleased to introduce the new commander of the 765th Air Base Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Weeks.
Morning, bom dia. I have the shortest speech, thankfully on a lodging letterhead. Thank you very much to the lodging team. Want to start off with saying thank yous. Colonel Eagle, sir, thank you for coming all the way down from the wing to represent and welcome me into the 86 Airlift Wing family. Colonel Wallace, Chief Pease, Sergeant Tamba, Thank you very much for welcoming me into the family thus far and helping me feel welcome on Lajes already. To the fellow commanders and SELs, I look very much forward to working with you over the course of the next year. I know we have some big shoes to fill and a lot of work that still needs to be done. I really want to thank Colonel Nost, Ben, thank you very much. When I heard all the great things he was doing out here and how cool the island was and how great this assignment was, I knew that I wanted my opportunity to follow him, and hopefully I get to follow you on in future assignments as well. Very importantly, thank you to my family back home, Ariel, Lucas, and Declan. I know that I got to be away for a bit, but I've got a family here that's very welcoming as well. And then finally, thank you to the proud members of the 765th Air Base Squadron. In just the few days that I've been here, I've already seen an incredible amount of pride in what you do and an incredible amount of excellence. And I think that I have some incredibly big shoes to fill, but I'm not worried because it looks like everybody knows exactly what they're doing, and I'm just here to help steer them. I'm truly honored and humbled to be able to take over and lead such a amazing unit, the proud people of the unit, and the support that they give to the mission for not only USAFE and Europe, but the other combatant commanders that we support. It's a beautiful place. It has an incredibly rich history and a very strong partnership with the Portuguese Air Force. And I'm looking forward to continuing on that strong legacy, both from Colonel Nost and Lajes Air Force Base. To that end, I will promise that I will continue to practice service to the unit, to the group, and to the mission by being professionalism and being respectful every single day and embracing the culture and learning. I may have a few academic credentials, but honestly, all that showed me is that I have a lot more to learn. And you folks are the experts that know all the information that I could possibly need. So I absolutely will be listening and looking forward to your advice. I'm going to keep my notes short because we do have a reception here. But I do look forward to working with you, leading you, and hopefully moving the mission of Lajes Air Force Base forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Weeks. Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. Please join us for a reception at the back of the room as we welcome our new commander, Lieutenant Colonel Weeks. Thank you for attending, and we wish you a pleasant day.